So, I didn't do one of these yesterday, and I don't really remember entirely where I left off on the previous one. I know that I woke up yesterday, and even though I know nobody's watching these, they have become a powerful burden. And the point of them is obviously to try and unburden myself in the video, tell my history to whoever is watching, so they can, walk through the nearly made it or good times that collapsed. That people who aren't struggling can see how much somebody might be struggling behind a series of moments in my life that, on reflection, there was more periods of success than failure. But the problem is, failures only have to be short. They take everything in one go. But the idea of sitting here talking again yesterday, and that's the only job, just to sit here and talk. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I still had my panic attack at 9 a.m, pretty much like clockwork. And I did today too. Everything I do seems endless. I say that periods of success are longer than periods of failure, but even the successful periods are just work. They're getting up and they're making a thing work from beginning to end, and it is a endless cycle. I, like many of us, I'm not likely to ever have a success that will allow me to put my feet up. If you're lucky, in this day and age, you get to live conservatively if you've got a regular job. And with that conservative, regular life, you'll get holiday time that you can book and take a bit of time off to have a few days where you feel like a human being before getting straight back to it. If you're a business owner, you are more likely to simply be in an endless stream of suffering because even the holidays aren't holidays. I'm planning to go back to England. I'm also in my plan trying to work out how I can maintain almost as much work as normal while I'm there. Chris helped me design new business cards that I'm going to have printed and shipped to my mother's in the UK, so I can have a client that I still have there, network them before I leave to try and pick up work, even though I'm taking my kids away, because I just can't afford to not be on. In the realm of the passports, they never turned up. I've cancelled them, and I've ordered the first new one already. Next week, the little one will have an appointment at the passport office, and we'll go from there. More money I didn't have. In fact, it's 2 days before the end of the month, and there's nothing left in the bank for food. And I sat there this morning working on things for clients and for my personal projects. We're trying to take the HD DVD Revive stuff into a more digital era. I'm not switching it off, but we lost Amazon a second time, not long after COVID. And COVID was painful as it was. And without that particular part of the business, I'm so under the breadline. I started trying to refine passions, which is going to be both an unpleasant thing for me to say to a lot of people on here. It didn't help a great deal. It hasn't helped. but it's early days. Right now, part of it is because my passions have to be my work. Because I can't justify, as a self-employed person, a business owner who is living without enough to get by. I can't justify taking time off to just have a hobby. Now, I've got all of my video and camera equipment from HD DVD Revived and other side projects, so I decided I would do kind of what closer to what I originally wanted to do when I was younger. I wanted to make film, but I figured if I start taking pictures and videos, uploading them to Pond5 Pixabay, then I've got this chance of earning something from my hobby. But the problem is that turns the hobby into work. You know, when I go out and I take the pictures and I capture the video, I am enjoying myself. To some degree, I think I have moments that go, oh God, I've got to try and find a good shot because I need to find something I can sell today. And the truth is, based on the statistics of Pond5, I would need at least 1,000 clips before I could garner any kind of revenue. I've got about 30 published items, so I'm not looking good. But the point is, I have to try and get something new, something different every day. And that's not really the worst part. Again, this is a beautiful city. And I wish I had more downtime to appreciate it. And I wish I'd had more downtime to appreciate it with my family. It doesn't feel like a unit anymore. My oldest son is a teenager who does what he wants. And between COVID and my working 18 hours a day, my disconnect with my wife is immense. I have become nothing more than the provider because I have to be. And my family needs to be provided for. So I'll never stop trying to provide. But it's killing me to do it. Working as much as I work, seeing them so little. It's destructive physically for the time I'm up working, and emotionally because, you know, humans are a community species. You want to be with other people. And obviously this is part of what causes depression to such degree. When you move away, you only have that unit. And now, because of, well, essentially a lot of it is just trying to survive post-COVID. I had a eBay store that was doing well, that so much stock didn't arrive in the time eBay promised customers it would. Even though, you know, we all knew that this stuff wasn't arriving this time. But eBay sets the estimated time. We don't. We can't. So what was happening was people were, after, say, 7 days, opening a dispute for an item that hadn't arrived, even though post had been delayed by up to 4 or 5 weeks, depending on where you were. And then eBay was giving them a refund. I couldn't claim the item back because the item would then get delivered, albeit late, it would get delivered. And let me tell you, there weren't really any honest people. They walked away with both their refund and my stock. Emptied me of every high value item I had. Post-COVID, eBay put their fees up several times. We used to sell PlayStation 2 games for £2.49 shipped, delivered. Now we have to charge £7. And for £7, I don't make any money. And they cost me the same amount to buy. Between the increase in in post, and between the increase in eBay fees, which have become immensely ridiculous. Last month, I only sold £140 worth of goods, and I've got eBay collections on me because somehow that left me in a negative. And I don't even buy my labels on eBay. I pay at the post office. So that's a negative just on eBay fees and subscriptions. So, after COVID, during COVID, we had a lot of problems with deliveries of HD DVDs, and the people I had running it were unable to keep up with the potential issues, and honestly it affected them too. So we lost Amazon 2 years ago, roughly. And I've tried to put it right, but I'm not in an Amazon country. I'm in Eastern Europe. There is no Amazon here. It has to be somebody in the UK or Germany running the Amazon. It cannot be run from here. So that left that scuppered, and the Amazon fees haven't really changed. They were always higher, but they haven't changed. But it means that from a retail perspective, dead in the water. If I had £5,000 to rebuild all of the higher value stock, I might be able to get back into a competitive position on eBay. I doubt it. So we're trying to digitise, go into less physical stuff, things that don't rely on the post, which I hate because I love tangible. Especially, you watched me the other day or if you did, I don't know. As I lost my plot, I didn't go scrolling through files looking for an answer. I picked up a physical item. And I don't know about you, but when I buy a film, I like to hold it, I like to own it. And I know that's not everyone. Part of the reason we're going digital is because, Drew suggested we should be anyway. I said I refuse to switch off the physical side, but I'll add the digital side. Because he doesn't like having tangible stuff taking up space. But I like to. I like to have a thing that shows that I bought the thing. I like to know that this is mine, and a change of license won't make it disappear. I like to know this is mine, and I can go through a box in 10, 20 years and go, oh, I remember this. Allowing that I actually do remember anything in 10, 20 years. But the opportunity, and I have boxes of memories, I have cards and letters and tapes and all kinds of things designed to try and keep my faculties about me. Because I've always been afraid of losing my mind. And I guess it wasn't as unjust a fear as I thought it was. I definitely seem to be. Turning it digital is an immense nightmare. The actual task of digitising any content is not so bad. But the actual code base of creating something that doesn't give an end user chip. I mean, like I say, you see me complaining about major websites and major organisations because it all runs like garbage. It all runs like garbage. I mean, ask yourself a serious and honest question. When was the last time you went on the internet and there wasn't something wrong with what you were trying to do? Whether it be a search engine giving you a nonsense result, or a website loading immensely slow, or not being able to log into something, or your video stream buffering, jittering, jerking, experiencing all kinds of problems. Every site out there seems to be out there half built, and some of mine are no different. And this has been a hold up for me and Drew, I guess. Is we're poor through pride because we don't like to let bugs into the world. So we have sat there and, like, I am building, Auction It, which was our auction site based on the concept of you being able to make a profit, like eBay started. But building that, without simply ripping people off, which we haven't, for the record. It was based on open source code. It uses literally none of the same algorithms or rules or parameters of eBay. But eBay crushing us time and time again, even back when we started, was a motivating factor. We started that project 8 years ago, and you can access it, you can use it. We do make the odd sale on there, but it is the odd sale. We're tiny, we're nothing. I shouldn't say that, but I don't want to be inundated or make it sound like I'm doing good at something. I don't know. It's barely noteworthy. But the problem is we started that 7 or 8 years ago, and instead of pushing it to launch hard or promoting it hard, we spend forever bug hunting and refactoring code because we don't like how this thing did this, or we don't like how that thing did that. The time we spent on the search equated to almost 4 years. Because I don't know if you've ever been on any major marketplace, how often you'll search for something and it will show you results in places you cannot buy from. And it'll be like something like postage not specified on eBay, or you'll open something on Amazon and it'll go, does not ship to your location. Then why did you show it to me? I'm trying to buy something to my location. It's wonderful you could say to me, I have these 4,000 things, none of them are for you, but look at them. Who does that benefit? Who does it help? I mean, as far as I can tell, for the actual site owners, it's bandwidth every time you click through to a page and find you can't buy an item. What is the sense? So we spent a great deal of time working on a search system, with one of the main rules being it will only show you stuff you can purchase. Now I get that sometimes that means that you'll see 0 results, but surely you'd prefer to go to a website and go, do you have a Mega Drive 2? And instantly, not for you, I don't. You can continue on your way. This took us years, but it mattered, and it was a little finicky thing that irritated us. And everything we build often is based on what irritates us. So that moves us over to the digitization thing that we've been working on. COVID was started in 2019, so it was 2019, 2020 we started approaching and garnering the issue of streaming. And we are approaching the pre-launch beta stage, I guess, where we are. I'm letting some people test. The accounts management is just causing me hell. And at this juncture, it does this weird thing where sometimes it'll ask you to select a profile and you can't. And you can't for the next 24 hours. No idea why. Just can't. That was the last bug I was looking at before I went, do you know what, I'm having a nervous breakdown, I'm fed up with the work, nothing is going well, and this feels like it'll never end because I'm going to clean this up and I'll find something else. I should do the moan, I guess. This is the moan. I don't know how much any of my stories or whinging or moaning is going to help anyone. I feel like a prat. But then, bear in mind, if you're watching this, and you're watching it because you feel like rubbish, remember that's not the same. What I'm doing is not the same as you talking to someone you know. I feel like a prat because I am sitting here moaning at an invisible audience who do not know me, who probably don't care. I am trying to express my burdens. And you need to express your burdens, but this isn't necessarily the right platform if you're trying to get better. I want you to understand what people have under the hood But you don't have to go on YouTube. Go to your friends. Talk. I am really far down the road. I'm so far gone. And, I want these things to really let you know to not get far gone, to go see someone. I don't want you to look at it and go, well, he tells his story of how everything's rubbish, and then he talks about how nothing's getting better and nothing he does works. It doesn't seem to for me. But go anyway. If there's one thing you can tell from what I'm doing, is I'm still doing. You don't give up if you can help it. Keep doing. Drag yourself out of bed and drag yourself to work if you can, even if you can't face it. Because that task is daunting and it's horrible and it sucks the living crap out of you. But you spend a week letting that keep you in bed or stop you from going into work, then the next daunting task is the red letters. And that's the next hole you have to climb out of. Now, where you are, if you're here because you feel like me, sucks. But one thing I haven't said each time I've got here is I'm getting worse. I am not getting better. I have put a stop in my door. And that may not be much, but it's something that keeps you alive. Stops you getting worse. And from the stop in the door, you try and find the way back. I want to find a way back today. Most days I don't. But today I want to find a way back. And that's a big step. And I know that tomorrow I won't again. But I have loved ones who I am trying to do this for. And I know some people out there don't. And everyone goes, well, remember the people who love you. And you think, cough. There is no one. Well, the reality is, it's because of two things there. You haven't met them yet, or you haven't let them in. There can't be one person, I'm sure of it, right here now, who, if you're on a social network, has actually 0 friends. You may not talk to them. They may seem like distant acquaintances, people from high school that Facebook automatically connected you with. But you have these connections. Open to them. Turn them from connections to friends. Turn them from background noise to reasons. Truly dealing with the way I feel, and many of us feel, and even those who just suffer with mild depression from the daily drudge of life. We all have days like that. Part of the problem is that the whole world really needs to change. And that's a big ask. We need to stop stigmatizing mental health. And I know we say that we don't. We're better than we used to be. But the problem is half of us are better and half of us are worse. Because essentially of a political divide where both sides of the political spectrum are pushing in different directions. And when one side pushes for one thing, the other side seems so angry about the push, they push harder. And then the first side's angry about that, they push even harder. So, on one hand, we've now got people saying we need safe spaces to feel better. And on the other side, we've got people saying no safe spaces when I was a kid. I remember soldiers dying in trenches. It's not helpful, it's conflictory. We need a unified approach. And also this whole thing where people look at somebody and what they're doing with their lives and go, you've got a mental health problem. Which is, again, it's normally a particular side. I see it all the time, and the remote judging the internet allows us. I saw a thing the other day, a post about an adult model who had broken the world record for sleeping with the most men in the world. And the comments were filled with, I bet your parents are proud, can't do class, and then all this other stuff about bagginess or whatever. This immediate onslaught of insults. Now, first things first, she's gone for a world record. She ultimately knows what she wants. It's not about you. Your judgments are not even original. Like, everyone thinks they're saying something so clever and profound as 4,000 people write, I bet your dad's proud. Maybe he is. But I thought to myself, if that's what she wants to do, and she hasn't hurt anyone, and she's happy with what she's done, then who cares? Well, impressive. And impressive to everyone who was capable of taking part in that event. I don't think I could have been halfway down the line. But it doesn't speak to the guy who was. There was this immediate onslaught. And I use that as an extreme because I imagine that anyone who watches this is likely to have an opinion one way or another. But why? Why do we have this opinion? Why do we think it matters as to what anyone else thinks of her? I think for some of us struggling, a great deal of why we don't talk is because we're afraid of this judgment that comes. And it always comes. But if we all had the confidence to go, I know I'm going to be judged and I'm going to be insulted, but this is my thing, then I think a lot of us would be a little bit happier. And that's the thing, I imagine she's happier than any of the people in the thread, which is crazy. The only comment I left was absolute lack of originality. It's not even like you had left a funny joke about the situation. Because again, there's a difference between a joke and an attack. And you can take the mickey out of anything you want, and if you do it in the right tone, everyone has a good laugh. But most of the time, people are actually just being asses and claiming it's a joke. And again, this doesn't necessarily speak very well to the people I'm saying you need to open up. It doesn't change the fact, I'm approaching the fear you have of being judged in the fact that you might be, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if somebody judges you. It matters if somebody listens. It matters if the right person helps. Everyone else, you try and turn to noise. I guess it'd be a nice little place to look. Yeah. Not necessarily for something as extreme as this, because that just happened to be on my Facebook feed, but pick up like a Guinness World Book of Record and go through it and think, look at the number of things that you might go, that's silly. And think to yourself, this person, they gave no damn. They did it anyway. They wanted to, they needed to, whatever the motivation was. And for those of you who are struggling mentally, I guess that's my attempt at a tip today. Try and adopt some of that. That's why I'm doing this ridiculous thing, and every time I post it I go, oh God, what happens if I get better and years down the line I'm doing something and all of this pops up like tweets damaging the life of a politician. But I thought that, and I thought that's positive, because I'm expecting to be here long enough to be embarrassed by this. and 3 weeks ago I wasn't. And that's something to say to yourself. Like, you feel like you want to die, you want to end it all. Ask yourself, if you're planning to end your life some point soon, that embarrassment's not going to last long anyway, is it? So you might as well take the risk that you'll do something that will have you live long enough to be embarrassed. God, I hope this helps. But, I'm not somebody who's out the other end. This is me walking. So. And for those who are just watching it for the morbid curiosity of the very strange guy in the thumbnail and listening to my weird stories and seeing my nervous breakdowns, again, the inverse to you. If there's someone from high school, primary school, someone you're friends with on Facebook you haven't spoken to in a long time, just, how you doing? Quick message, quick chat. Save their life. That's what you could be doing. It only takes one of us. You've got people all over the world protesting to make changes for animal rights or human rights and this, that and the other, and they're big tasks, and it's wonderful that people are doing them. But we're so busy thinking globally, not enough people are thinking locally. Think about the people near you, the people you knew, the ones whose lives you've already crossed paths with, and try and make a difference there. So that's this rant over. I don't know if I'll get here again every day because this is daunting. But I am going to try and post as often as I can. Even though, again, I don't think anyone's actually watching these things. So I don't think it's that big a deal.